So I spent about 15 hours playing AFK Journey, and I gotta say, I'm not really the biggest fan of idle RPG games, but I was surprised by this one. There's a pretty big world you can explore, the artwork is right up my alley, the characters look amazing, the gameplay loop has been engaging so far, and best of all, you can pet the cat. So if you're on the lookout for a new gacha game, I am going to cover all of these things I mentioned in this video. But let's back up a bit. So AFK Journey is the sequel to AFK Arena, which you might have heard of. However, the difference between the two is pretty huge. I mean, they both come from the same AFK universe, but one thing you'll immediately notice is that you get to walk around in a 3D world with your party of characters, which is what initially caught my eye. In fact, the developers have reached out to me and wanted to support my channel. But what's really interesting, they actually want me to share my feedback for this game, and so this video will be based on my first impressions from the beta voyage test. Although, keep in mind, if you're watching this in the future, hi, and things might be different. Now, initially, I thought this game will have some sort of a superficial exploration. I don't know, the tutorial zone felt like that. But then I accidentally scrolled back my mouse wheel, and I noticed the camera view starts pulling away from my character, and not long after, I am looking at a decent-sized map. I actually really like this, because you can quickly zoom out and get a good overview of where you are. But what's even crazier, after those 15 hours clearing the first big area, another one opened up, and I'm sure it will keep growing bigger. So yeah, the world is pretty huge. But what can you do in it? Well, quite a lot actually. First, we have the main quest. I only tuned into it for a little bit before I started skipping dialogue, since I want to play and experience the story when the game launches, but basically, the main character is a powerful mage who has inherited the title of Merlin, and the first intro to the story is about a village that's been set on fire, and you must find out who is the culprit behind this by solving a mystery. And so you'll go on to visit various places, talk to people, go into this big city, and so on. The story is fully voiced, and like as you'll notice from this footage, it's a pretty world to look at. It has this canvas fantasy look, almost like a fairy tale, and as someone who likes this type of artwork, I can easily get behind it. But what really surprised me, since I'm playing on a PC client, you can enable horizontal full screen view, because at least on mobile, right now you can only play on vertical view, which is fine, but for PC, this was a nice surprise. Now, besides the main quest, there's also side quests. In one of them I fought a huge boss. Then there's puzzles you can solve, like activating switches to reveal treasure chests. There's also caves you can enter to explore, and the chests or items you discover contribute to your overall exploration of the zone, which then also has a bunch of rewards to claim depending on the progress. Most importantly, there's also a bunch of enemies you can encounter. Some of them are just simple battles, others have these tactical drills, where auto combat is turned off and you have to win a fight with select units by utilizing various combat techniques. Then there's also defend the objective mode, and a bunch more that I've discovered as I was playing the game. But let's talk about combat. If you played AFK Arena, it's quite different. Here you will fight in an area that will have terrain. So like there's low walls that block movement, high walls that block everything, barrels that you can explode, flamethrowers you can enable, and so much more. And each time you fight, at least in the world, the terrain varies. Now, the characters fight by themselves, but you can activate their ultimates by going into this bullet mode, and you usually get to select where you want to land the ultimate on this hexagonal grid. It's a nice twist, but I won't lie, most of the time I just enable auto combat and win fights effortlessly, until I hit a wall. Not literally, but like the enemies just beat me up. And so then I start to play manually, which means I can progress a bit further before I need to start leveling up my roster, so it's a nice mix of chill gameplay and strategy. But man, I don't know about you, I really like the character designs. There's a total of 6 factions a character can belong to. Each of them will have a bunch of abilities, and for example, this one is from Graveborn, who can summon a big dude to do her bidding. She's pretty cool, but then those of you with a distinguished taste, there's Mauler's faction. And one of my favorite characters so far is Smokey and Mirky. That little guy is just too cute. There's also Wilder, who have this nature look about them, and they have some cool designs. And then finally we have Lightbearers, your typical fantasy heroes and knights, but they do have a nice flair to them. Now, if you're an AFK Arena player, you know there's 2 more factions, Celestial and Hypogean, but I haven't unlocked any of them yet, although I can see you can obtain them from guild activities. Which brings me to the next part, the social aspect of this game. One thing I do remember when I was playing AFK Arena for a bit was that there's a big and active community that you can participate in. For example, you can customize your avatar with cool cosmetics, you can change your profile pic with a custom image, you can make changes to what people see when they visit your profile, like your character's pose or greeting text. And you can also use emotes in the world and buy more of them by just adding friends to your list by exchanging points. And you can even find your friend avatars in the world, like this person named Xiao who I met. And yeah, there's also a guild you can join and visit, which allows you to obtain important currency for those exclusive factions I've mentioned by just doing guild tasks. And of course, you can just talk to people on general channel while you're farming in the game. In fact, you can do more than just talk. If you encounter this corrupt enemy, you can send out invites to your friends and start a teamfight against this enemy. And when you defeat it, you will obtain shards for an S-rank character, which is the highest rarity. And with enough shards, you can get a random S-rank unit. And from what I've heard, there will be lots more cool fights you can join with other people, like this Primal Lord event. Speaking of which, the progression system is pretty simple. The main feature of the game is the idle rewards you can collect as more time passes by, and you can keep clearing these AFK stages to improve the idle rewards, so nothing groundbreaking here. However, when it comes to leveling up your characters, it has a cool resonance feature where you only need to level up 5 characters, and then the lowest level will be applied to the whole roster, and you can even switch between them to retain the level. So essentially, you never need to care which characters you level up, and treat these 5 spots as a way to determine your whole roster's level. And there's also an equipment system, which is pretty interesting. You equip items for the entire class. So for example, these 5 support characters I have unlocked all share this equipment, which in my opinion is a nice way to simplify gear management. Now there's also a bunch of game modes. I have unlocked the first 3, but there's a total of 6 of them as of making this video. And for example, in Dream Realm, each day there's a new boss, and you get 5 free attempts to deal as much damage as possible, which then gets calculated into rewards. And to me, these boss fights seem pretty fun, and I can already see that some team comps will fare better against certain bosses. Now we also have Arena, which is your usual PvP mode. There's a bunch of great rewards you can obtain from here, and you can even set up an arena type for your defense team, so it's an interesting way to counter certain comps. And then the last mode I have unlocked is Honor Duel, and my gosh is this mode super fun. Basically you get 3 characters and 1 special artifact item that provides some sort of an effect, and you can expand this roster as the fights go on, but your goal is to win 9 fights, and after each battle you can buy equipment and more characters to build a powerful team. All of this of course is temporary and lasts only until you're done with the mode. But I spent an unhealthy amount of time in here. It's kinda like those auto chess games, but felt super entertaining. And I even managed to win both times after scoring 9 victories. But let's quickly talk about the gacha system. Currently, there's 2 banners. The first one is like a standard banner, but after 30 pulls, you can create your own wishlist with 2 S-rank and 2 A-rank characters from each of the 4 factions. And from now on, if you pull any character, they will be from this wishlist. And as for Epic Recruitment banner, this one has a much higher chance for an S-rank character to appear. And it also has a wishlist, where you must select 5 S-rank units, but you must use another pull currency, which so far I've been obtaining by doing various activities. And there's a good amount of them. You've got daily quests, guild quests, growth path, which is like a major thing you want to focus on to get good rewards. And then there's growth trials, which are like achievements that give rewards. But yeah, overall, I would say that the game feels quite polished, although I did notice some bugs here and there, like the audio of voiceover goes from quiet to really loud, and I did experience a couple of crashes on my PC clients. But seeing how this is a closed beta test, I'm not surprised. But I will say that once I complete an area, there's not much to do in it, and since you've got this pretty world to explore, I hope the developers consider adding some timed events or wandering monsters or something similar, so like there's a reason to return. I also hope they implement some sort of a matchmaking system for co-op activities, because I believe I had to send out invites to my friends list, which I understand encourages the social aspect, but I know some people would definitely prefer just matchmaking with strangers. Still, I think that if you like idle RPG gacha games, I would recommend checking out AFK Journey when it comes out. Like, this is definitely a side game, not a main game. There's literally idle rewards you can claim, which are super important when it comes to leveling up your team. So, you know, some days you forget to log in, and you still get a bunch of resources when you come back to the game. Also, as I said in the beginning, I'm not the biggest fan of idle RPG games. I liked some of them, but because here we have a nice world you can explore, and there are some fun social aspects to the game, I mean, these 2 things have helped me appreciate this genre, especially since I can see the core systems of idle RPG games are quite simplified here, which to me is a bonus because I can get into the game without needing to think too much. So yeah, I recommend for you guys to check out AFK Journey. It's going to be available for both PC and mobile, so just make sure to use my link in the description to pre-register, and by doing this, you will get a bunch of awesome rewards when the game launches. Anyway, thanks for watching the video, hope you enjoyed it, and see you next time.